Are you recording right now?
Yeah. Is everybody
I just got back from the bathroom, man.
Yeah, no, I wanted to sound organic. Actually,
enough.
the reason I wanted to do it the way I do it, the reason I started off with guests, so I was listening to the WTF podcast with what's his name, Mark Maron.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening it on YouTube, and it just goes right in, like in the middle of their conversation, and I liked it, and it didn't feel like that weird build-up needs to happen. Oh, that's perfect.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
So who is it like is like everyone a woman in the class, or what is
Okay. No. What she meant by like I don't want you to win is that like
is that your teacher?
this was a student.
Okay.
When I talked about releasing the tension, that was my teacher. And I think that that's what my classmate was trying to get at. Like, you know, if you just hold this much tension in a room and then don't release all of it, it can come off the wrong way. And, you know, when I first started doing comedy, I did not really consider the audience. I was just going up on stage like, this is what I think is funny. Because I listened to a lot of like LA comics mentality, like Segura and Jesselnick and Cummings, and they just went up on stage and they were just like, this is what I think is funny. And I've just heard all of the stories about how they bombed just so bad starting out, and they eventually figured it out along the way.
Especially those styles.
Yeah.
And so the class is predominantly what? If you're the
So I'm the outlier. I'm the stand-up comedian. I'm the
I mean female, black people. Asian people,
it's
gay. I assume a lot of gay.
Yes, we are. Yeah, there are a lot of gay people in my class. Mainly white people. There are 3 Hispanic people.
So it's so interesting. And are the other white? Are they women or are they men?
So I got one other white dude, one other straight white dude. He's big and tall. His name's Christian. And then the other 3 guys in the class are gay. And then everybody, or no, there are, gosh, I'm losing count of how, but there's one, they, them identifier.
No.
Non-binary.
Non-binary. Okay.
Non-binary. Yes.
Oh, got out of that one. All right, cool. Non-binary.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know the technical terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's one non-binary, and then the rest are women.
Okay. White women?
Yeah.
There's and I think you'll relate to this, a frustration about that.
Okay.
Because I love the way Bill Burr put it when he said something like, you know, you're in the hot tub with me. Or something like that.
Yeah, you're in the jacuzzi with me.
Yeah, that I acknowledge that just to be a woman inherently brings a lot of baggage and fears, specifically of rape. But there's a specific vibe that white women can give off that is so frustrating because it feels like cherry picking a little bit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean by that. Believe me, I almost got married to a white woman, so I know that.
I feel like that's never going to happen again.
I've been raised by white women, so,
yeah.
You know. But I will say that, like, the struggles that women face are 100% valid.
Yeah.
And, you know, while I would like a little more of a privilege check sometimes, please don't zip your zipper in front of me.
I hope it was loud, too, because I know the mic was...
Well, I mean, like,
yeah.
I will say, like... you know, there is sometimes an inherent hypocrisy. Yeah, I'll let you take the reins from here.
I guess you're for the listeners who can't tell, you're a white man.
Yes.
Straight white
mayonnaise.
Man. And you're 21.
Yes.
I think I feel kind of bad for your generation of white dudes. In that I don't feel bad in the sense that like all of this it's so hard to describe how you were just talking about the non-binary, you said they, them,
Mm-hmm.
like the way you were approaching that. Also, when you speak, just make sure you're on the mic.
Okay.
But the way you were approaching that, there was a delicacy and a sense of awareness that your generation of the white man has that is necessary. But at the same time, I feel like you guys you weren't physically seeing what older brothers or uncles or dads were doing that has gotten us to this extreme. Does that make any sense?
No, I was raised by women. I was 100% raised by women. I grew up with an older sister, and older sisters are always tougher on brothers, younger brothers. But like growing up, all I wanted was like a brother, like a male counterpart.
Yeah.
And I called people who had brothers, and it was really weird sometimes. Even if we had like a sports connection, like baseball or football, it still felt weird. But yeah, so yeah, there is a delicacy that my generation of dudes needs to have.
Yeah.
Just because generations before us have kind of abused that privilege a little. I say a little bit, a lot. Yeah. So I understand the need for it, and I'm 100% okay with it because I mean, we're comedians. We want to make people feel good and laugh, and if that requires me lowering my status as a white dude, I really have no problem doing that.
When did you realize, or do you think you do realize, the extent of how bad it's all been for so long?
So I mean, I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee.
Jesus, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I mean, it's 5 minutes of, hey, how you doing? It's real great, nice and polite. Here's some food, and then we get to the really great stuff, which is the racism stuff. Mm-hmm. So, I knew that there was just something wrong. Mm-hmm. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, and then I went to college.
Recently, right?
Yeah, I went to college and I took a lot of classes. I took African American poetry.
Wow.
Yeah, I took Latinx poetry. I studied colonial Latin America. Like, I really went to college to try to gain a broader knowledge because I knew I was living in a bubble. Mm-hmm. And I always knew something was off, but like, once you do a little bit of digging, mm-hmm. even the tip of the iceberg is horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's such a interesting situation. I'm sorry, my brain is fried from this past week, and I went to a comic convention yesterday. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was my first comic convention.
I saw you met the Mandalorian.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I mean, I don't think it was actually him. No. It was definitely not him. But it was still dope. So pardon me if I'm off. We might do another one of these in the future anyway.
That's great.
But it's my experiences have been I've come to realize so horrific that to see the progress now is really nice, and it's just interesting to see. It's hard to even describe. I don't know if I told you any of the stories of the things that have happened to me.
No, you said that you didn't respect me as a comedian.
God, you're still on that?
No, I'm just fucking. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just fucking with you, man. No.
Yeah, what? Well, I can't. Okay, so I know you started talking to me. There's people listening to this. Maybe. How did we meet? What was the talk?
So it was my first open mic at
Taylor Street.
Yep. And I remember I did really well my first time. Mm-hmm. And that was like my first official time, and I felt really cool and awesome, and you know, and like I thought that because I did really well that we were gonna be friends right away, and that was
you and me.
Yeah, okay. And that was just not the case. That was just not the case at all. So,
so you saw me at some point.
Yeah, I saw you perform later on in that mic, and then we met up a couple more times. And then I remember I asked you to take a picture of me during my absolute worst bomb. Because of my dad's birthday.
Yeah.
And I wanted him to see me doing comedy, and I just did so horrible that night.
Yeah.
And I think that was when you're like, all right, maybe I'll give him a chance.
Okay. Nah, it's all click. I remember. Yeah. Came off very cocky.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you come off that way?
No. I was coming from a bad place in the summer.
Yeah.
And I was riding in high with a lot of confidence coming into Chicago, and I didn't quite know what to do with all of it. And then, you get on stage and you get your shit fed to you and you get your ass kicked, and you're like, well, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was.
Yeah. I know the feeling. Like literally the episode before this one, I was talking with Matt Bright. He's the social media director for the Laugh Factory, and I talked to him about that, about like this cockiness that can happen, and how when you get shown that you're not nearly as good as you think you are, it is very difficult to deal with. I can see why people give up. Man, I can't wait to do another episode with you when I'm like aware. I'm so fucking out of it.
That's fine, man.
But what was it about? Because were you talking to everybody? What was it about me that made you want to talk to me?
You were just the first dude that like talked back to me. You know what I mean?
Would people just actively ignore you?
So I remember there were, oh gosh, his name's slipping me right now. But there were like a couple comedians that like I saw later that I've talked to now who recognize me now, who just were just, how you doing? Just straight face. So yeah,
because I engaged with
you engaged with me, and I think that's why I gravitated towards you. And then I saw you do well, like better than I did, and I thought I did pretty well. So I was like, that's clearly a guy I want to be around if he's doing well.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah. You It's so funny. Whoever listens to this is going to think our relationship's far more awkward than it actually is, and that's all my fault. No, but you remind me of me.
Okay.
That's why I have taken the time to bother you with my insights. And this isn't anything new. Like there's this guy from where I'm from Riverside, Jonathan Tynes, who if you talk to him when he's like 23, 22 right now, same type of dynamic, except I was more abrasive. Like when I give my opinions or advice now, I'm pretty sure I always add this caveat of you can take it or leave it. This is not me forcing my thoughts on you.
Yeah, it makes the condescending tone that much worse. But
yeah, I do. I sound condescending all the time. I don't know what.
It's fine.
Yeah. Looking for. So you grew up all women around you.
Yeah, and what really exacerbated that was my sister was an actor and my mother was an actor. So I was around theater kids too.
A lot of masculinity in that.
Well, and I mean, how I offset that was I was just this major sports dude. I was just like I was going to be the starting Mets catcher when I was 18 years old. Like that was my plan. I trained with coaches who had put players in the big leagues. I deliberately tried to offset how much I guess how much femininity I was being exposed to. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And eventually I just kind of looked at myself and it's like, well, what exactly is wrong with that? And I don't know. That's when I kind of decided to take this form into like this performance aspect into sports, and I got into sports radio. I spoke with Penalty Box Radio on ESPN when I was 18.
Sounds exciting.
It was, and then I had always loved comedy growing up. I watched Whose Line Is It Anyway? Kevin Hart. Louis C.K. I know we're not supposed to say that, but like he was one of the first comedians I ever saw.
How do you feel about, like, I know you just said we're not supposed to, and I know you're joking, but like, how do you feel about Louis now?
I heard that he had released a new comedy hour on Spotify.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, he did.
Recently?
Like last year.
Oh, sincerely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and it's still Louis.
Mm-hmm.
He just because he went away for a while didn't mean that he grew or changed. Like he's still Louis C.K. So
interesting. So you don't you don't think he grew? You don't think he learned anything?
Well, he did a whole bit about one word that I'm not going to say. Like he did a full 8 minutes about the R word.
Did he?
Yeah, and he said it over and over and over again. And I don't know, because now he's canceled, he has the excuse of saying stuff like that. Like, I'm going to get canceled anyway, so I'm going to talk about it anyways. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, when I was growing up, he was so funny and he was on the up and up. Mm-hmm. And I really I really wanted to, he was so dark and edgy and
Sincerely,
stuff.
that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And, he was so dark and edgy and wow, he shouldn't be saying things like that. And of course that attracted people like me. And, then all that stuff came out. And I have this conversation all the time. Performers need to change with the times.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there needs to be a changing with the times. I think it's such a complicated thing. I think he has the right to say whatever he wants to say, and if people are willing to pay for it to see him, then he should do whatever he wants to do. I think, I guess morally and ethically, I don't know. Yeah.
Fundamentally, I don't disagree with him being kicked off, cast aside, mm-hmm. saying, go do your own thing, and then he goes and does his own thing.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with that per se. I do have a problem if, you're going to just, I guess, double down on all the bad things, on all the deliberately bad things. If you know something is going to hurt mm-hmm. somebody, offense is one thing. I don't really give a shit about offending somebody. If this is going to hurt somebody, mm-hmm. I think there's a difference.
Do you think as time will go by, you'll be able to adapt with the times?
I think so. And I bring this example up. Nobody is saying you can't make transgender jokes. People are saying write better transgender jokes.
Okay. What about then someone like Chappelle? How do you feel about? Did you watch his special?
I did, and I watched it a couple times, and I went back and I watched Sticks and Stones and the Equanimity and the Bird Revolution. And what felt differently about Chappelle's new one, it's like there were jokes hidden in there, but he was more trying to
make a point.
Right. With Sticks and Stones, there's a new Jesse Smollett, that whole thing.
Yeah.
There's a clip of Chappelle's bit about that from mm-hmm. Sticks and Stones, and I thought I think that's relevant now, but I don't know if the things that he was saying on the special will stand against time.
I guess Chappelle's one of my. It's a close run between Chappelle and Burr for me.
Me too.
Yeah, both of them. And but when Chappelle, when it comes to the adapting with the times, I don't know if I'm having trouble or what, but for me, I feel like I get what he's saying, which is this isn't about transgender people.
No, I get the point he was making.
Right, and I don't like the reframing people have done with what he was saying, if that makes sense.
Like they've personalized his statements when he made his point clear.
Yeah, I feel like it was clear, but apparently it wasn't. I don't believe him to be transphobic. Oh, dude, I can't wait. I cannot wait to do this again with you. Are you an introvert?
At heart, I would much rather jerk off, get high, and play video games than go out to any party. Yes.
Do you know when you've been put around too many people for too long and your brain can't?
There's just too many opinions.
Well, just it feels like the energy has been sucked out of me.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I feel like I'm in a brain fog, and so we're gonna do this again. I'm putting out this episode no matter what, but we're gonna do another episode because this is shitty. On my part of this shitty is.
I like to think I'm giving great answers.
You are doing fantastic. You're doing fantastic. I'm not gonna perform tonight. I'm not going anywhere tonight. Wow. Man.
I mean, I've been in the same boat. We've been prepping for the final for the past week, and it's been stressful, man. Like, people are stressing out.
What? Yeah, you're in college. Mm-hmm. Oh man, how are you? Do you like college? Do you like any of them?
I will be 100% transparent. I don't know how I'm going to go back to school because I'm training. I'm doing comedy studies at Second City, which is it's
fun.
It's like the stuffed animal version of improv, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm getting like a world-class history education of comedy, and I'm getting like joke writing tips and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how I'm going to go back into geometry. A classroom. Yeah. Exactly. Like, how do you go back to that?
Yeah, Are you good at school? Are you good at the academic side of school?
I am good at putting my head down and getting something done.
That's the way America wants it.
If that's the way I've been conditioned, then I don't know how to break out of that.
Do you, man?
Hit me.
No, fuck, dude.
If I had the choice, the time, and the resources, I would quit school and do comedy full time. Mm-hmm. Like, if I had enough money for rent for a year, I would just go to either coast and I would do stand up and try to like get writing jobs and stuff like that.
Where do you think? How long do you think it's going to take before you can survive off of stand up?
The saying is you either make it at 20 or 40, and I'm 21, so it looks like I've got 19 years before I'm going to be any good at this shit.
Fair enough. So you're playing the long game with it.
Yeah, and the question that you have to ask yourself is, do you mind being an absolute loser at 40? If you can say, I do not mind eating mac and cheese and ramen at 40 years old in a 1-bedroom apartment that you can barely afford. If you can do that at 40 and still love doing stand-up comedy, then that's enough for me.
But your ex-fiance?
Yes.
Was she aware of this?
She was kind of at the beginning. She was like, the tail end of our relationship was right at the beginning of my stand-up career. Mm-hmm. Like, the night that we officially break up, I had bombed so bad. And it was the first time that I had done stand-up in Nashville. Mm. And I just bought, like, the guy who was hosting the mic said, I don't know if you should come back and do this.
Why was it that bad? Was it in front of people? Or
It was in front of like a group of like 20 people.
Jesus, what happened? Why?
So I don't remember the joke, but it was something about, it was a rough draft of the Chinese condoms joke. And it just tanked so bad. Yeah. There was only one joke that did moderately well. And the guy said, I don't know if you should come back and do this. And then I drive over to my ex-fiance's apartment, and she says, I don't know if I want to be in this with you anymore.
And then how did you bounce back from that?
I spent the next 3 months in bed crying, eating ice cream, vaping like a motherfucker. And then I just decided, I just felt all the things I needed to feel.
Yeah.
And so by the time I came here, it's like, okay, we're ready to let that go.
That is shockingly healthy. That is an incredibly mature and healthy way to approach that situation. I'm very impressed.
Well, I had just come out of the ward too for alcohol and drug abuse, which I had been struggling with for about 4 years with.
Yeah.
And so everything fell apart in the most spectacular fashion all at once. And so it's like once you've done the unhealthy thing for so long, once you finally get that like check, that real life check, not like an inconvenience, but like a your life is over as you know it check, you want to do things a little bit differently.
I think I'm impressed by that because I didn't learn that until I didn't have a decision changing moment until I was like 25, 26. So it sounds like you've done this much earlier. Not to say there won't be more, because there's going to be more.
Oh, I hit the wall pretty early with alcohol, dude.
That's crazy.
When I was 15, I was so dedicated to baseball. I went on a double date with a girl. I twist my ankle, and it like takes me out of practice for a week. But because I'm going to power through anyways, and I end up dislocating my shoulder, which, I mean, absolutely bombed my baseball career. I mean, took me out of it. And I was vying to be the starting catcher on varsity and everything. And, the relationship with the coaches really deteriorated because I wasn't being completely honest about my health. And then, when I was 16, I started drinking. And then I hit 18. I committed to play baseball at a D3 level school.
D3 is good?
No.
Okay.
No. No.
It's the open mics of baseball?
You know what? We got some ballers on the team now, but I was very clearly the starting bench warmer. These guys could have played at better places.
I think that's what's nice about being a stand-up is, unless something happens to your brain or your ability to speak, like you can fuck up or you can do stand-up in a cast.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yeah.
It's man, I feel bad because I'm so close to being like, do you mind if we just start over another day?
No, you know what? Here's the thing.
Can you feel that I'm off?
No, man.
Really?
I think this is going well.
That's good.
This isn't abnormal.
What?
This isn't abnormal behavior.
My behavior?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. I'm not present.
You're worn down.
Yeah.
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 There's no shame in that.
No, it's not that there's no I just want your episode to be good. I feel bad. You fucking came all the way down to Pilsen, and I just want your episode to be good, and I just feel like I'm making it.
To be quite honest, I'm in town until the 26th.
We might do another episode. I'll put this out, but we might do just another episode.
Well, I will say that, when I was 18 and I had committed to play baseball,
yeah,
I said, the relationship with my high school coaches had gotten just so bad. Mm-hmm. I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. So I just opted out of my senior year. That's when I met my ex-fiance. That's when I was introduced to the wonderful world of weed.
Of course. And
that solved a lot of problems for a long time.
Did she smoke?
Yes, she's the one that
introduced you.
Yeah, she's the one that got me on it, and then I took a good thing just a bit too far for a long time.
I know that feeling. And then, how much do you want to talk about your fiance? Is there anything?
No, if you have any questions.
So, do you know where how long has it been since you were?
It has been is to say? It has been about 7 months.
That's not that long.
Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, my God. Do you know what she is?
I have no idea.
It's healthy. Good move.
Yeah. My old Instagram account got hacked, and I had blocked her on that, so now I don't even know a username if I could look one up. I'm pretty sure I'm blocked, but I don't know to be sure.
If she were to contact you, let's say she were to contact you and be like, "Oh, Jack, let's get back together." I don't know what she sounds like.
That's exactly what she sounds like.
Let's get back together. What would you say to her?
No, I am in a wonderful relationship with my new girlfriend. Her name is Ivana.
Oh, you have a girlfriend now?
Yes.
When did that happen?
It happened over the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay, man. Spill the tea, baby. So what happened? You guys touched each other's hands while you're carving the turkey. What happened? I need to know. Hi, Ivana. If you listen.
Wow.
Is she gonna listen to this?
Definitely.
God damn. Hi, Ivana.
She's gonna listen to the whole thing. Actually,
I'm so sorry, Ivana. I promise I'll go get your man on a better episode later. But okay. So how did you meet her?
We met at school. She came to a fraternity party in the fall of COVID when the schools were like, yeah, people are dying, but you still need to hit the books.
Of course.
So we met at a party not party that they can't punish us for now.
A party not party?
Well, we couldn't party, but we still did.
Oh, okay. I got you. You went to a gathering.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dr. White, if you're listening to this. Yeah, we partied pretty hard, even during COVID. And no masks, a lot of sweating.
Okay.
So we met at a party, and we developed like a really great friendship over the next semester. And she has been there kind of when I've, been dealing with the new life choices as we've been talking about.
Right.
And yeah, she's been terrific. She's been absolutely terrific.
What does she want to be?
So
she's your age, right?
Yeah, she's my age. I've been writing some stand-up actually about this. So I came to Chicago this semester to study comedy.
Of course.
And she went to Arizona to learn about immigration studies. And that makes me feel like a really big piece of shit. Because it's like, fuck you for doing something meaningful with your life.
Yeah. Is she lives out here, though, right?
She lives in Brooklyn, New York City.
How is that relationship working?
We're going to go back to school.
So when you guys go back to school, wait, are you going to Brooklyn?
She visited me She visited me in Chicago over Thanksgiving, and then we're both going to go back to DePaul in the spring.
Where's DePaul?
It's an hour west of Indianapolis.
And that's in the spring. Okay, so you're moving.
Yeah, I'll be moving back, but the goal is to come back here frequently throughout the semester.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited to see where your life takes you.
To be quite honest, I don't know, man. I'm thinking this is it. I'm thinking comedy is the way to go, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Don't make the mistakes I made. Yeah, Jesus. The thing we were saying about with college and our age difference feels so big to me. I don't know if it feels big to you. It doesn't seem to.
I respect you as a peer.
Yeah.
But I also look at you as a mentor in a way. Like, it's a weird dynamic.
I'm listening.
It's kind of like the dynamic I have with my boss back home at Penalty Box Radio. Like, I look to him for professional advice, but I also know I can grab a beer with him if I want to.
That makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah.
One day we should do that and do drugs and all that. But when you
you hear that, Mom? I'm gonna do drugs
with a black. Hi, Jack's mom.
Oh Lord.
This is the worst podcast I've ever done on my end.
I'm having so much fun.
I'm glad you're having fun. I'm just, man, anyway, I should stop fucking dwelling on it, but that's part of me not being present.
This is joining the journey, man.
This is part of the journey. There's always ups and downs, and this is a down for me, but it'll be okay. No, the age, in terms of experience, like life experience, like I didn't go through COVID during college. I can't imagine what your perspective of life is relative to mine in college.
Okay, so I'm willing to bet that how hard did you go in college? Like, were you a student? Were you a partier? Were you like an activities guy?
I was irritating as a person. I was. What's the definition of a womanizer?
It means that like you look at women as though they can serve you, whether that be sexually, romantically.
I was subconsciously a womanizer then.
Okay.
Meaning I was not consciously or maliciously like trying to hurt people, but I think subconsciously I was doing womanizer shit. I was terrible in school, but I powered through at that same, like, just powered through.
Yeah.
So I just powered through it, but I fucking hated it. I guess I just distracted myself from what I should have been doing. Like, when you talk about learning lessons and all this stuff, I think your growth has happened so much earlier, and it's happening very fast from what I'm saying, at least relative to my growth personally at your age. So I'm just very impressed by it.
I appreciate that. On campus, I feel like people like me, and I feel like people enjoy me. When I went back to campus for the DePaul Wabash game, saw all the fraternity brothers and all the people. It felt like a warm welcome. But like college during COVID was just awful. You probably established a routine. You wake up, go get breakfast, go to class. Imagine just waking up and then turning on the computer, and that's class.
And that was your first year of college?
That was my second year of college after I had the let's get up and do everything type thing. So you turn the camera off, you turn on a movie, you turn on video games. You're not even paying attention, right. And I still passed the COVID semester with flying colors.
Yeah. How do you think this is going to affect your generation in the future, this whole experience? Because this is your formative years of going through something so weird.
It is going to fundamentally change how my generation interacts with other generations.
In what way? Positive, negative?
I don't think that my generation will have the same. Well, it's hard to say. Like, people are, especially with all the cultural stuff going on.
Yeah.
I just think that our generation has been hit with so much in such a short amount of time. From the election of Trump. Like 10 years ago, gay people couldn't get married. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Well, that's still, in certain states, that's still a thing.
I mean, yeah, that's still
still going on.
It's still going on.
To prove your point, really. Yeah.
And, election of Trump and COVID, like, I think that our generation is just collectively tired.
Yeah.
And that is going to reflect in the workforce. That's going to reflect in culture. That's going to reflect in comedy.
Do you... The Trump stuff, you're from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
What I'm picturing is very scary.
One of the assistant baseball coaches, this is what kind of deteriorated the relationship a lot. One of my assistant baseball coaches in high school defended the Chancellorsville riots.
The which ones? The what?
The
January 6th?
No, not January. Although I think he would have.
Yeah.
The thing that happened in Virginia.
Oh, the guy who ran over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So much has happened.
Yeah. He defended that.
There were there literal Nazis there?
yes, there were literal Nazis there.
Yeah.
And, just echoing, just that coach is just echoing what Trump said about it and stuff like that. And, you got like half the baseball team like, we're with you. And I'm like, guys, there's a black person on the team.
Yeah. How did he feel? He was one, right?
He was silent.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't remember hearing I don't remember anything about hearing. I don't remember his opinions about that. I don't remember hearing anything.
That is.
I was an arrogant shit in high school.
Was? Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. You're arrogant in high school.
I mean, like, turn it up 1,000, but
Yeah, I believe it.
I was so. When somebody says some stupid shit like, I don't know, I think that the people at the riot were right. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, man?
I'm trying to.
It sucked being moderately liberal in Tennessee during Trump years.
I don't know how you became moderately liberal. Is your family liberal?
My mom was sort of.
Jack's mom, do we need to have a discussion?
Okay. So
we don't need to out your mom on some shit.
I'm not outing my mom, but like, she identified as one, but like her strategies were real Republican. Like her parenting strategies were real old fashioned tough nose.
Okay.
Like when I think of a liberal mother, I think of a mother that like
a hippie.
Yeah. Talks to their children like they're people.
Yeah.
And Republican mothers just in general, just talk down to children.
Yeah. Yes, I know what you mean.
Like, that's just how mothers talk to their children down in the South. Like, they're inferior.
The Trump stuff is eye-opening and confusing at the same time for me. Just because it's so transparent. It's like from day one, as soon as he started running, I was like, oh, this would be a bad idea. Objectively a bad idea. And I think it's just from being gaslit my whole life, but it's like, this is objectively like evil. Like, so using your coach, how does he not see very literal Nazis? I'm pretty sure they had the swastikas.
They did.
How does he see that as an American, not even just as American, and think that's okay? Like, do you think you could put this into words? Because I'm struggling with understanding, and maybe I just will never understand it, but white people in general, I don't get it.
The lesson that I had to learn right away was, this is not about you, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't know. If you know you haven't done anything wrong, there's nothing to defend.
Right.
So, like, if you truly believe in equality, you have no problem letting other people have the microphone for a little bit. And if you feel uncomfortable with people having the microphone for a little bit, it's because there's something you don't want them to say.
Right.
And what they have to say, unfortunately, is true. That white people have kind of been the bane of everyone's existence for so damn long.
Yeah.
And you have to say, I didn't do that shit.
Yeah.
I know other people that look like me and talk like me probably did that shit, and that gives other people enough reason to be scared, and that should be enough reason for me to like lower my status. That's how I view it.
Yeah.
I have friends who would say, there's an attack on being a straight white dude in America. And it's like, no, there's not. There's really not.
Yeah.
You just don't like being made fun of. Don't like being called out and shit.
It is, I guess the mental gymnastics of it is just frustrating. Like, I was at this Irish pub mic, and this guy went up, Kevin. Never going to forget Kevin. He didn't have a last name, just Kevin.
Kevin.
That's how you know it's your first time, when you just put your fucking first name and that's it. And he was talking about how he's in college and he went to take a racism class. That's what he called it, a racism class. Which I'm like, I don't think it was called that.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And he was talking about how people didn't like him, and he was framing himself as a victim, essentially. And when I got up, I asked him, like, "Hey man, what is a racism? What do you mean? What do you mean? What is that?" He said it's a class to talk about how bad it is or how it's wrong to be white, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I made fun of him, whatever. But the mentality of that is, it's so hard to put into words. That
It's
like,
preschoolish.
yeah.
It's like elementary school level behavior. I don't want to feel bad about myself, so I'm going to make you feel bad about yourself.
Yes. But it's interesting because he's trying to protect his ego, and I can see that. And he's young, and I hope that he learns some shit. But then I see people that have taken it even further, that are what I would describe as evil.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say that about a human and encompass them in this little box, but it's like, it is evil. I remember I was street performing in Riverside, and the white dude was being there. I was talking about Black Lives Matter, all that stuff, and I brought up Trayvon Martin. Do you know Trayvon Martin?
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, well, George Zimmerman murdered a child. If I remember correctly, he was 17 when he got killed.
Yeah. And
the guy I was talking to, the white guy, said, "Child," and he had big old air quotes. And he said, "Oh no, he's air quotes." And then he said he did this, implying like he moved his hand up, implying that Trayvon Martin was very big. And I was like, in my head, I was like, dude, if that logic to kill somebody is fascinating to me. To justify that, it's like if we were talking about having sex with girls, and I was like, I mean, she's 17, but she's really tall, so it's fine. It's like, no, objectively, no. How are you? I've been told by other people, specifically black people, like, don't even try to understand it, give up. And so sometimes I get in this headspace of like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. And the other times I'm like, just on a logic level, I want to understand the fuck is going on in someone's head where they're able to,
Okay, so assistant coach, right?
Yeah.
Talked about the origins of the Civil fucking War. Okay, this is basic knowledge, right? Yeah. It's fought over one thing. Slavery.
Yeah.
So I say the Civil War was fought over slavery.
Yes.
And he goes, no, it was fought about states' rights. I said, to do what?
And then what does he say?
He goes to just have them, to have so that we can do whatever we want in our own state. And it's like, but to do what?
But then that level, the logic is the hypocrisy comes in, because then it's like, all right, well then gay marriage, you should be able to do whatever you want. But that's different. That's not the same. It is. See, I'm frustrating the shit out of myself. I'm asleep. As soon as we're done, I'm going to go to fucking sleep. But now I got to clean, and the refrigerator's broken. Anyway, it is. I think what I'll say is, you and talked to Jordan Black. He was my first guest. I need to do another one him because it was echoey as shit. But I appreciate you guys and your existence because it makes me feel like, okay, what we're saying is making sense. And whatever your coach is like, not an anomaly because it's half of our country, but
he will be a state champion in the state of Tennessee in baseball in a few years.
He's not going to listen to this.
No, he's not.
But I don't.
And if he does, he knows exactly who I'm talking about too.
Yeah, we don't need to say his name, I guess. But I have an issue. I used to say people's names on podcasts. I'm going to get in trouble one day. I'm going to get in trouble for a lot of shit one day. But I'm just in a state of realizing a lot about my life and the things I've gone through, and having physical distance from where I grew up in, being able to step outside of it and just look at it is like, it's so disturbing. Have I told you any of these stories? I don't know.
No, I would love to hear at least 5 now.
Easy. Do you want to do a violent story? Do you want to do a gaslighting story? Do you want to do a older, younger story? Like what level?
Okay,
let's do this. This will be fun.
You know, you told me you obviously you're the older, I'm the young, but I can relate to gaslighting the most because I was gaslighted so much as a kid.
Okay.
So.
I remember my grandfather was basically my father figure.
Okay.
And then he passed away when I was a teenager. I think I was a freshman in high school, but he had dementia all throughout middle school. So it was like he wasn't even there throughout middle school, which is the worst fucking time. As a person who was looking for a masculine figure, I get that. I relate to that in a very big way. And so I'm just searching for that anywhere. And I ended up dating this girl. She was white, and her dad was white. And
congrats, that's how it works.
Yeah, that's usually how it works. And this was when being a Republican didn't mean what it means now.
Right, Tim Allen, Republican.
Yeah, on the surface, I think under that it's always been what it is.
Right,
but on the surface, Republican. And one of the things he would say is, if you're not liberal when you're young, you don't have a heart. And if you're not Republican when you're older, you don't have a brain. That was his logic. We're coming to realize, no, if you're Republican, you don't have a brain or a heart. You are like the Tin Man and the Scarecrow. The Tin Man didn't have a heart, right? What did he need?
Yeah, he needed a heart.
He needed a heart. Tin Man and the Scarecrow in one thing. And I was getting fucked with by Karens before they were called Karens. And I was probably about 15, 16 at this point. And I was talking to him because I didn't have anyone else. I was like, they're treating me like shit. They're calling the cops on me. They're staring at me. I'm trying to mind my own business and they're following me. It's like they're fucking with me. And I remember he said, I'll never fucking forget this. He said, Aaron, it's your responsibility to make people comfortable. Very sincerely, like in his head, he very sincerely was like, yeah, this is the right thing to say to a child who is being fucked with and getting the cops called on him. And he genuinely believed that.
That's true for white dudes. That's not true for anybody else.
But that is a good example of it.
That would be a good piece of advice for me.
It's appreciated. So that was one. I remember.
It's awful.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. It's really fucked up.
It's awful.
And I remember I grew up in this church. It was a Baptist church, all white.
Yeah. Cops
out the fucking wazoo. Everyone's family member was a police officer.
Heard that.
And that same girl, I would all through middle school, I'd be like, the cops aren't always the good guys. I'd be arguing with everybody. And that same girlfriend would argue with me when we were younger. Then when we started dating, she got it because we would be minding our own fucking business. And then the cops would come over and over. And she would start back talking. And I'd be like, I can't say her name. Sorry. I would be like, stop. Just leave them alone. Just let them say what they need to say. All right, we'll leave. Like, just don't engage. But she was doing the white woman thing, which I appreciated because she didn't know she wasn't used to that situation. But I'm going all over the place. So I was in church. And these were people who were my family for the most part. I cared about these people very much. I talked about it in my little comedy special. But I didn't show you that?
No.
Oh, I'll send it to you. Spoilers for one of the stories. So I was getting called a nigger at some point or something. And so it was the word was brought up. I want to say it had something to do with rappers saying it, whatever. And my youth leader, get ready. My youth leader, this dude would have been about 20, 21 maybe.
Okay.
And I would have been about 16, maybe 15, 16, maybe 17. He was like, he was quoting the Chris Rock, there's niggas and there's black people. You've heard that bit.
I've heard that, yeah.
He was saying that, and I quote, he was saying, Aaron, there's niggers of every race. There's white niggers, and there's black niggers, and there's Mexican niggers, and there's Asian niggers. And what he is trying to say is there are
there's bad people.
There's bad people of every race, which it's like the gaslighting there is like the way you're wording this and how you've approached this is not okay. Do you know what I'm saying? You're making a face at me, so I'll let you talk.
Why did he just keep saying the word over and over? Like,
I don't know.
You made your point with the third example. You don't got to keep saying it.
I don't know. There was other adults there. They were all in agreement.
What?
They're all agreeing, and I'm like,
oh my god.
Yeah, and I remember I would hear, and this is from childhood into college. I would hear the people would try to give me this compliment. They would say I was a good black person.
Jesus.
Yeah. They would say I was a good black person, and it's like it's such a hard thing to verbalize to people of why that. I mean, it's easier now because there's a better understanding, but back then, things like micro aggression were not words, so there's no words to describe like why that's insulting. And so I'd be like, they just said I was a good black person, and the other people would be like, well, yeah, man, that's a compliment. They're saying that you're good, like you're good. You're not like the other one, the bad ones. And they couldn't hear like how obviously fucked up this is. Mm-hmm. But I'm a kid and I'm arguing, and everyone around me is telling me that I'm being crazy, and so you start to lose your mind. Like you start to really break away from reality because it doesn't make sense. So now with this distance and looking back on it, it's especially heinous to me because I'm an adult and like I'm in a safer environment. Mm-hmm. And it's just a lot. I think so when I hear about your coach or all this other stuff, it is, for lack of a better, it's going to make me sound liberal as fuck. It's triggering. It is genuinely triggering.
I'm sorry. I should have given you a trigger warning.
No, it's fine. No, that's fine. It's fine. I've survived much worse than hearing about your fucking coach. But it's like, it is so hard to wrap your mind around it. And then meeting Jordan Black or meeting you is always, I don't know if scary is the right word. It's always like, all right, let me feel this person out. Let's see. Because you came off real cocky when I first met you. You came off super cocky, and I was like, that feels more like a youthful thing than it does a personality thing.
Yeah.
And like I've learned over the years going with your gut how important that is, because my gut feeling about you is positive. That's why I continued to have the conversations. I was like, I don't feel a malicious intent from you.
No, there's no malice.
But that gut feeling has been something I still have to like figure out because it's been so scrambled from where I was from. But that's some of the stories. There's more.
Okay. If you want to see if a white dude is truly cool, and I mean truly cool.
I'm excited.
Okay. Ask him how he feels about Cardi B.
How do you feel about Cardi B?
Fucking love her, dude. Fucking love Cardi B, dude.
Okay, what is your logic of that? Why?
So I used to not like her.
Okay.
Because of like a video, because she was a stripper before she was a rapper. Mm-hmm. And I didn't like her because she was like posing. I thought she was posing as like an example to be kind of like Nicki Minaj was saying shit like you can shake your ass in college and still pay your way through it or something like that. I don't disagree with that, but like I didn't like her because she was a stripper before she was a rapper. Mm-hmm. And there's a video of her on the internet and she's completely naked. squatting in front of two men holding identical beer bottles in a strip club, right?
Of course.
And she takes the first beer bottle and she like lubes it up and then sticks it inside of herself.
Okay.
And like keeps it in there.
Without no hands?
No hands.
Impressive.
Very impressive, right? Yeah. Takes it out, does the exact same thing with the other guy's beer bottle. Mm-hmm. And from my white ivory towers, I was like, fucking gross, dude.
So you were like mad at her?
I was like grossed out.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I checked the privilege and I was like, she got to where she got with the money she has by doing the things that she needed to do.
Yeah.
So it's like off of that alone, I respect that. And then I started to think about the other things that I judged her for. Mm-hmm. I was like, I would love to throw a shoe at somebody I hate. Like, remember when she did that at an award show to somebody? When she threw a shoe at somebody?
You know a lot about Cardi B.
I do. I do.
You're
I'm a fan.
Aficionado of Cardi B.
I'm a fan, man.
I didn't know that she threw a shoe, but I think I get what you're saying. That the judgment for what others have to do to get further in life, like when someone's poor and is stealing stuff.
They're not doing it because they're bad. They're doing it because they need to eat.
Right. I remember I was. Did you know I was an interpreter, American Sign Language interpreter?
You had a bit about it. I don't know if you. You need to keep it. It's a good bit.
Yeah, I'm working on it. But yeah, so I used to be an American Sign Language interpreter, and that was a difficult job to do because of racism and because you can't say what you have to say what other people are saying. And you know me, and I want to be like, well, actually, both of you guys are fucking stupid. Here's my opinion. I remember I was interpreting for some sort of police thing, like a part of a police thing, and they were on the subject of certain drugs, and one of them was like crocodila or something, some shit in Florida that makes your skin melt off. Yeah. And the professor, he was a police officer, I'm interpreting this class. And he's showing pictures and what it does to your body or whatever. There was this guy up front, and he was clearly the teacher's pet. Mm-hmm. This is in college. Teacher's pet, fucking Boy Scout. In his head, he's like, I'm going to go into the force and make a difference.
Right.
And he was like talking during class. He was saying like, why would these people do that to themselves? I don't understand how that's so stupid. Why would you put that in your body? And I was like, oh no, he's gonna kill people in the future.
Yep.
He doesn't. Your Cardi B thing makes sense now. Mm-hmm. Like he's seeing somebody suffering. He's seeing somebody make poor decisions and suffering, and he's thinking, I would not do that. Therefore, that person is bad. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's part of it, I guess.
You have to see the humanity and why people do what they do.
Right. But I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is what I'm trying to do with white people. I'm trying to be like, what? Why this? Why? But I guess it's hard to do the reverse of that, if that makes sense.
It is really hard to educate people, telling them they're wrong when they've been told that their whole life that there's nothing wrong with what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm in this, I wouldn't call it a bet, but I have a buddy of mine. His name's Zero and nickname Zero. Mm-hmm.
Anonymity, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, no, he's going to love it. I'll make a clip for him. Hi, Zero. And he's black. And we have this running joke that I took on all of the racism he was supposed to get in his life. Like, my life has been filled with racism. Mm-hmm. Like, it is a good part, is what I think about every day because it was all racism. And he got none of it, at least to his experience of it. He's a positive guy. He just... Something about him.
Things just did not happen.
Just didn't happen to him. Yeah. And so we're very similar as people naturally, but our environments have made us think about things differently. We have a whole podcast about it. And so I was talking to him about how it's gonna be fucked up, but I was talking to him about how like I'm trying to get what it is about white people and how they don't seem to have souls. And I know that's not the right way to word it, and I know I'm still trying to find a way to word it. There is a thing that with a lot of white people, there's this feeling that I'm like, there's something off, and I don't know how to put it into words. And I was talking to him about it. And I was like, do you not notice it? Do you not feel it? Because I've talked to other black people out here, and they're like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, for a week, just for 1 week, can you try to look at the world through my lens? Try to see it, please. And he said, yes, if you look at the world through my lens. And I said, okay, fair. And we gave each other tips of how to look at the world through each other's lenses.
Okay.
And it's going to be really telling of our life experiences based off of our tips. My tips to him were, let's see. Okay. My tips were, where is it? Where the fuck is it? Sorry, WhatsApp. Okay, number 1, notice who's noticing you.
Yeah.
Number 2, think about when you're feeling more safe and comfortable versus when you're feeling more unsafe and uncomfortable. Number 3, watch Lovecraft Country. Number 4, look for who feels warm, not for who necessarily feels nice, formal, or approachable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like that number 4 was why I continued to speak with you, because you felt warm. You weren't very nice or formal or approachable, but you were very warm. You felt like a person.
You know, that makes me feel real good about how I'm doing things.
Good, as it should be. His tips for me were, number 1, assume people like you. Number 2, imagine yourself as them if they were the main character in a positive, uplifting movie. And number 3, if you feel someone judging you, assume it's not you, but something they're dealing with at the time that will pass. I don't think he's wrong with what he's. That's a beautiful way to look at the world. And my tips were a good way to survive in the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm technically supposed to be doing it right now, and this is my process of it. I know talking about it in this way is me not doing the way he looks at things, but we're in the conversation, so we're here. Don't know what I'm trying to say. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Mm-hmm. What am I trying to say?
Yeah. Like you, just the way that you have been raised, just the way that you do things, it's survival instincts. It's fight or flight. It's you. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, yeah.
And the way that he kind of looks at it, the way that I looked at it, like you can do anything. People are behind you. There's no ill intent in the world. You should not assume something is wrong unless you know something is wrong.
Yes.
And you've been kind of taught you need to look for what's wrong so you can either fight it or get out of it.
Yes. He has never been put in any of the same situations. And we're trying to, I guess, suss out that together. Because I don't think he's wrong. I think his existence is such a happy... I'm so jealous. Actually, no, I do think he's wrong. Let me reword that.
I was about to say jealous is not... Nah. Here we go.
I think that Zero is wrong in terms of race, but I think that in the way he is right in his approach and view of life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? Do I need to?
So his overall ideals are not wrong. It's just the way that life has given him those ideals upsets you.
It used to upset me. It used to really frustrate me. Especially during the protests when we would talk about. There's video of it of us doing the podcast. I was fucking so angry with him because he's very apologetic of the behavior and understand because it hasn't happened to him, so it makes sense. I think I am. I think I'm trying to answer this unending question of what it is internally that is going on, and I don't think I'll ever have a real answer for it. Because I go in this loop about it, and maybe it doesn't need an answer. I don't know.
It is jealousy. It is fear. Like porn exacerbates a lot of fears that white dudes have.
Do you watch like interracial black porn?
I don't watch any porn.
That's very healthy of you.
No, because that shit'll fuck you in the head. And that's my point.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like internal biases that are ingrained at a very young age.
I would love to see more of this side of you on stage.
Really?
Yeah. What you present on stage is not what you're presenting here.
I get it all out on stage.
Interesting.
Like, so we talked about the first thing that you said to me was, "You got a lot of anger, dude."
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I get all of it out on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to be confrontational in real life. I don't like conflict in real life. I would just prefer to, do my own thing, put my head down. And so when I get on stage, I get to be a performer. I get to be somebody I'm not. Mm-hmm. And it's fun for me.
That makes sense. I think I guess I'm just curious what that would look like. What this version of you looks like on stage in joke form would be fascinating to me.
I feel very introspective right now.
Yeah. I would love to see your introspection on stage. It would be fascinating to me. But I desperately need to clean and be alone with myself. And we are definitely going to do another episode because this was all over the place. I know you're like, this was fun and it's fine. In my head, this was a terrible episode for me.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's not your fault. It's all my fault. Okay. Everything's my fault.
Okay.
It's all my fault.
Okay. Do you need a hit or something? You need a hit or something?
No, I need to meditate.
Meditate?
Yeah.
You got to get me on that shit.
Yeah. What happened was pre-pandemic I tried, but life was so all over the place. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't sit down because I had work and bills and things. I had to go do stand-up. Mm-hmm. Then when quarantine happened, and I was able to sit down and there was nothing to do, nowhere to go, I tried to do it more. I just had time to relax, to rest. And I remember the first time, so trippy, I remember the first time I did it successfully. I was in the shower, and I took like military showers where you get in, you put water on your body, put soap on your body.
Get out.
You get out.
Shower off.
Shower. Go then go do
hose off your feelings.
Yeah, and so that's how I used to take showers. And I was in the shower, and it was at night. And I don't know how quarantine was for you at night. It's eerie.
My nights during quarantine. So here's how my nights would work during quarantine. My ex-fiance would sleep literally all day and then be up at the hours that I would not be up at. So what I would do, I would just go out to my car, smoke a fuck ton of weed, come back inside, pop in a pizza, and like watch Star Wars. Like quarantine was a goddamn vacation, man.
Oh man, I was in a whole other. I was in.
I know that was not everybody's experience.
I was in a conservative suburb where I grew up. I was where I grew up. And at the time, I was living in my grandmother's garage, and I was like, it was weird because going inside, I always felt like I was going to kill my grandmother. So there was always this air of intensity. And I was in the shower, and nighttime felt weird because I was always performing at night, and so I just didn't have anything to do. I was in the shower, and I was about to just do my regular shit. I think this was maybe a month into the quarantine, where I was going to just do it and get out and then go sit in my bed and exist. And for a second, I was like, I don't have anywhere to go. Like, as soon as I get out of the shower, I'm just going to be sitting here anyway, so let me just take a second. And I closed my eyes and I tried to do I was just focusing on my breath. And that was it. That's all I needed to think about. And it was like, I closed my eyes, and when I opened them, it was like I was awake for the first time.
Do you remember how long you were in there? Do you remember what you were feeling?
I was feeling calm. I was feeling like, when you're in first person. I'll explain why I'm laughing about that in a second.
Okay.
When you're in a first person shooter game, like in Call of Duty, and you can see outside the person's eyes. It felt like I was that for the first time. When you remember Spider-Man, the game, where you can see Spider-Man's body. So I lived in the Spider-Man perspective my whole life, of outside my own body. And then it was like,
you put on the suit.
Yes. And then it was like in that moment when I opened my eyes, I was like, oh, I'm in my body. I'm here. Like anytime you've ever spoken to me, and it's not going well right now because I haven't had time alone, but I'm constantly in a place of using meditation techniques to be with you. And there are many times where I'm not there. That's why I have to ask people questions over and over again, or I won't remember stuff. And it's always insulting to people, but it's like there are times I'm not there. This whole podcast, most of it I haven't been here. Yeah. It's frustrating. Like, and that's why I'm telling you that I want to do this again with you.
I was seeing an apparition move around the room.
Right,
I was wondering if that was you.
Yeah. I do that Doctor Strange shit. So
yeah.
But the idea of the meditation was basically like, just focus on your breath, and then when a thought comes in, you just let it go. Just another thought comes in, you just let it go, and it's about being in the moment. They say, what is it? People that focus on the past are depressed. People that focus on the future are anxious. People that focus on the now are happy. And it has helped me beyond what you could imagine. Like, I just wasn't there. I think every day was so traumatic and everyone around me was so negative that you get to a place where it's like, I can't be in this world right now. I gotta be somewhere else because I can't do this.
Did you watch The Last Dance?
Yeah.
Yeah. When Michael Jordan talks about being present and talks about how, like, he wasn't anywhere but where he was, that was such a huge thing for me in the recovery process this summer. So I definitely relate on that, like, being in the... Tell me if I'm wrong, but, like, when you have done your best on stage, it's because you are 100% present. Yep.
And it's way more fun that way.
Oh, it's so much because you're enjoying yourself.
I think it happened when... I think you saw it when we were at Taylor Street and I was going through the motions and then I realized it and then I got out of it. I don't know if you remember a moment like that, but
I remember. I want to address something now that I'm on the podcast, by the way, because that time we went to laugh therapy.
Yeah.
When you fucking framed it like you wanted a landslide.
Okay, so for context, I was like, hey, Jack, you should come to Black Mike's. That's important. And you went to...
Was that a prank?
No.
Or, no, because that was really good advice for me.
Yeah, no, it was not a prank.
It was really good advice.
Yeah, like people... You got to be funny to everybody.
Yep.
And that is a particular style. It's not to shit on the north side. That's a style, and there's money there to be made.
I do so much better in the south side. It's weird.
It's a very weird feeling. But yeah, so it was the Wednesday one first. It was 100 bar, 10 bar.
We went to 10 bar, and it wasn't that much of a trek for me because that's like right across the street from Taylor Street.
And then went all the way. You went down south, it was like 85th Street or some shit like that.
So I caught a bus.
Oh,
I got off the pink line and got on a bus. And
you crossed the city of Chicago, basically, like the entire city to get down there.
Oh, I went to Rose's, no, Francis. I went to Francis.
I haven't been there yet.
I went to Francis off of 87th, and Mike Knight, who's been amazing to me so far. He revealed later it was a joke, and I went down anyways.
Yeah.
And oh my God, man, it's 2 hours on the train from where I live to Francis.
Yeah, that's a bit much. But regardless, we went to laugh therapy. We ended up being in the competition. And And then
we were both the finalists.
Yeah, it was you, me, and
PJ Reed.
That's not his name.
That's got to be his name.
Is it PJ?
I think it's PJ.
Get the fuck out of here, man! I haven't seen that guy in so long.
I remember I started off that set by saying I was happy that Brian Laundrie was killed or died. I was happy that he died.
Yeah.
And then I went into like family stuff, and then I ended with a rough draft of the quadriplegic bit. Yeah. And then I remember you started off shaky, and then it was something about how like deaf people were assholes.
Yeah, I was doing my deaf material at the time.
And then some lady groans, and you say, so you're going to let a white boy talk about fucking a quadriplegic, but you're not going to let me talk about how deaf people are assholes?
Yeah.
And that won the competition.
Yeah. It was that was the moment. That was the example. I was going through the motions, and then that moment snapped me into the present, and then from there it went on from there.
And then we got into the joke off, which is my favorite fucking part of the story.
Well, yeah, I went first. I'm pretty sure all I said was, I already won, I can say nigga. And then I just gave you the...
And here's the thing. I thought you were going to tell an actual joke. I thought you were going to go into a bit. So I ran back to my backpack to go to my joke book like, fuck, I just used all my best bits. What I'm going to do. Yeah. And then you said that, and I was like, there's absolutely nothing I can do to win this competition now. So I grabbed the microphone, and I, with the fullest sincerity, and I counted down from 3, and I go, no.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good bit.
Oh my God, that will honestly go down as probably my favorite memory of this semester.
What is it about? Because I'm sure you're having a different experience. What is it about doing those mics that you feel like is important?
I think it's important because it like swaps the roles.
Yeah.
You know, like now I have something to prove to you all, and that works really well as a young comedian. And you know, that mentality, it's sort of like ups the confidence a little bit because
Jesus Christ, guys.
Goodness gracious. Someone's got places to be.
Yeah, this is city living. Yeah.
But I remember doing really well in front of Leon Rogers at Bartend like 3 times, and then I bombed the night before I got a kidney stone.
Jesus.
So I don't know, man. Like, it's really rewarding. It's really rewarding to make everybody laugh, to make lots of people laugh, and I don't know. It's just been a lot of fucking fun, and I'm super excited to keep going.
Yeah, that seems like a good way to.
Yeah,
and that's good
closing
button, right? That's what we say in improv. It's a button. You put a button on it. They didn't teach you about the button. Anyway, well, Jack, this has been great. I'm going to definitely want to do this again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I leave in 14 days.
Okay. It'll probably be a minute because I still have to hit up other people, but we'll figure it out. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a lot of fun, even if you didn't think it went well.
It's no. I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole. You know, I'm gonna accept.
At least you look great.
Thanks.
Nobody's gonna see it, but at least you look great.
I don't feel like I feel fat. I feel so fat right
now. You can go fuck yourself if you think you're fat. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah. Well. All right. Good night.
Bye.